Hi everyone, my name is Emily and I'm the young adult librarian at the Rock Island Public Library, and for this month's Manga Monday I have a series called Nichijou. And this is a series that is technically slice of life and comedy, but it is also the story of a group of friends in high school. There they are. So there's Nano, and there's Mio, Yuko, and Mai. And the four of them are, in some ways, ordinary girls in high school, except in many ways they're not that because, for example, Nano is a robot. And she was invented by this girl. This is the professor. And Nana would really like to just be a regular high school girl, but it's hard to do that when there's a giant key sticking out of your back. And also, everyone knows she's a robot. They're just kind of keeping up the charade that no one knows, especially in this first volume. Like, eventually, as this group sort of becomes friends, this stops being an issue. It's like, hey, you're our friend. We don't care that you're a robot. And at one point, Nano is talking to the professor, and she finds that, okay, if my hands fall off, there are guns inside. Now, they only shoot beans. To be fair, these are not, like, actual dangerous weapon-type guns. Although there is a girl in their class who seems to have access to a lot of weapons, except when she shoots their rich classmate with things, I mean, nothing ever really seems to happen. He just ends up, like, he is unharmed, but for whatever reason, she has these various weapons, including some kind of, I mean, it looks like a grenade launcher, but he ends up just sort of enveloped in smoke. And as this book goes on, I mean, it's a lot of just very strange humor, and some of it relies on kind of subversion of expectations. So at one point, like, Yuko is often getting in trouble because she forgets her homework, and so she's out standing in the hallway, and that's when she sees the principal fight a deer. Like, there's just a deer wandering around school grounds, and at first Yuko's, like, trying to talk to people in the classroom, like, hey, there's a deer outside, but then she sees the principal chasing it. And as this goes on, she sees the deer and the principal fighting, and she's like, oh no, the principal's dead because this deer has run into him repeatedly. But then eventually what she sees is, oh, he's wearing like some kind of bulletproof vest underneath, or I guess deer-proof vest under his suit. And so the deer and the principal fight. And eventually, like, what she sees is he, even though he is somebody who is balding, he is wearing a toupee that reflects this. Like, he is actually totally bald, but the toupee that he has is that of a balding man, and it falls off in the middle of the confrontation with the deer. So finally, Yuko, I mean, she tries to go in and say this, but what she says after the fact, all is a-okay out in the hallway. These words were the truth, spoken from the bottom of my heart. It wasn't to protect the principal, or because it would be too hard to explain. Perhaps it was just a way of showing respect to the heroes who had played out their life or death struggle before me. Gathering the rains of early summer, swiftly, Mogami River. So that is a random haiku about, not this weird thing that happened, so much as capturing, I guess, the sort of impermanence of life and the nature of strange things that happen that there's just no way to articulate it. One of my favorite chapters in this book is chapter 9, and it is totally wordless. And it's just Yuko and Mio, and they're building a house of cards. And they're also, like, Mai is there too, so they're having to contend with her and this cat who are also in the room. Like, they leave the room at one point to kind of try and calm down, and when they come back in, they see that here is Mai playing with a cat, like putting this cat wand through the house of cards that is almost finished. And, you know, these two are just losing their cool, understandably, because this is a nice house of cards and it's almost done. And then Mai, she puts her glasses on top. And again, Mai, your friends, Yuko and Mio, would really prefer you stop doing these things. But eventually what happens is the House of Cards is not knocked over by what you might call conventional or predictable means. Instead, no, the light fixture in the room just simply topples down. Like, it comes unplugged, apropos of nothing, falls, and crushes the House of Cards. So the chapter, it sort of ends with a kind of triumph, because it's like, okay, well, our cards are under this light, so we're gonna put the last two on top. And all this time, I mean, Mai's just sitting there reading. Like, throughout the series, she will read any number of very strange books, and it's just kind of what she has going on in the background. But in other scenes, she will take kind of a more active role, as when Yuko is trying to finish her lunch, and she ends up dropping the hot dog that she has. So Mai witnesses this and is there to kind of try and catch it before it hits the floor. But also, we have Mio and the art that she does in her notebooks and tries to keep secret. And we also have just Yuko's struggles with homework kind of go on throughout this book. And at one point, a dog just kind of appears in the hallway to comfort her. Obviously, it's not funny to try and talk about or explain why something is funny. I'm sure I've proven that in the last few minutes, emphatically. But check this out. And thank you for watching. I will see you again next month.